So today, we're going to dive into a story about ambition, trust, and what happens when a dream is shattered. It's a story that really gets to the heart of how the deepest wounds from a scam, well, they aren't always about the money. They're about something much, much deeper. Let's get into it.
I want you to just picture this for a second. A young designer studio, and the walls are just covered, not with random papers, but with proof of a dream that's about to become reality. This is where it all starts, with this vibrant, tangible promise of a brand new fashion line. So let's start with chapter 1, a dream's promise. This is that incredible moment, when all the hard work, all the ambition, seems like it's finally about to meet that one big, life-changing opportunity. So to really get this story, you have to understand Amira. She isn't just someone with an idea, she's a builder. For 3 whole years, she poured every single thing she had, working second jobs, using all her spare time, into building her modest fashion line. She was so ready, so ambitious, just waiting for that breakthrough. And then, it seems like that breakthrough moment just walks right into the room. At a business mixer, Amira meets a woman named Ghazala Din. And Ghazala is everything Amira wants to be. Poised, successful, with this air of quiet authority. She's the perfect image of a mentor. And this is the line that changes absolutely everything. Ghazala doesn't just give her a compliment. With these words, she validates Amira's entire dream. It's not just an offer of help. It's someone finally saying, I believe in this. And for an entrepreneur just starting out, that is rocket fuel. But how did this incredible connection turn into a complete disaster? Well, that brings us to the second part of our story, the anatomy of the con. We're going to deconstruct exactly how this beautiful dream was so systematically taken apart. The manipulation here was so deliberate. This wasn't just a simple ask for money. First, Ghazala built a relationship with constant texts and calls. Then, she created this feeling of exclusivity, talking about private dinners with angel investors. Third, she created a sense of urgency, this idea of an overnight launch. And only then, after all that groundwork was laid, did she finally make the ask. And here it is, the tangible price of that dream, £3,500. For Amira, this was a massive amount of money, scraped together from savings that were already razor thin. It was the physical investment she made because of the huge emotional one she'd already poured in. So now we get to the third phase, the unraveling. This is where all those shiny promises start to fray thread by thread, and the heartbreaking reality starts to show through. The way the communication just died off. It was so fast and so methodical. For the first month, everything was great. Updates were constant. But then by week 5, things got quieter. Too quiet. By week 7, emails are bouncing back. And then week 8, the investment office is just an empty, dusty room. It was never real. And that's the moment, right? That horrible, gut-wrenching feeling when you realize the person you saw as a mentor, a guide, they were never even there. The trust she had put in Ghazala was built on absolutely nothing. I mean, just look at this contrast. It is absolutely devastating. The promise of exclusive showcases, the reality was a vacant office. Angel investor meetings, bounced emails, and a brand launched overnight became, in reality, just stolen savings. Which brings us to the absolute core of this explainer, the true cost of betrayal. Because as we're about to see, that £3,500 was just a tiny, tiny fraction of what Amira really lost. These right here, these are the invisible wounds. This isn't about numbers on a spreadsheet anymore. This is about the deep psychological fallout, sleepless nights, sudden panic attacks, this overwhelming shame that made it impossible for her to even tell her friends or family. But look at those last 2 points, creative paralysis and loss of passion. The very thing this scam was supposed to build, it ended up destroying from the inside out. And if you need to see it laid out, this chart says everything. Look at that tiny sliver. That's the financial loss, a mere 5%. The rest of it, the overwhelming majority, was the damage done to her self-belief, her mental health, and her creative spirit. That is the true cost of this kind of betrayal. It fractures the person, not just their wallet. So, where does all this leave Amira? Well, our final section is called A Dream Unfinished, and it's all about the lingering echoes of what happened. We're back where we started, in her studio, but the feeling is totally different now, isn't it? The sketches are still on the wall, but they're not just symbols of promise anymore. Now they're just remnants of a dream that's been betrayed and completely frozen in time. She can't move forward with it, but she can't bring herself to let it go either. And in the end, that's what this is all about. This isn't a story about a bad business deal. It's a painful reminder that when trust is broken, it can fracture something so much deeper than just a bank account. So, I want to leave you with this question to think about. For anyone who's ever created something, had a passion, or started a business, trust is the foundation. It's trust in your own vision, and it's trust in the people who say they want to help you. And when that foundation is completely shattered, figuring out how to rebuild, well, that's one of the hardest journeys there is.